Mobile Fidelity, the undisputed leader in audiophile recordings since 1977, up until a couple months ago, because then we all got blackpilled. Let's talk about it.
Six in the morning.
All right, so it seems like we've been talking about Mobile Fidelity now for 150,000 years, complaining that they tricked us into believing that their product was one thing while it was actually another. And I've come to the conclusion that I might never buy another Mobile Fidelity release again. And let's talk about why. So, if you go to Mobile Fidelity's website, there was 3 new releases coming that I was kind of excited about. They were not Michael Jackson Thriller. I was planning on buying Miles Davis, Sketches of Spain, Bitches Brew, and Cannonball Adderley's Something Else. But let's talk about why I'm not going to do that. Number one, there's some pretty decent represses of this that I don't really feel like paying $100 for it. Also, if you look down here, DSD 64, so that implies to me that they're using the masters that they got from a previous pressing of this. That's probably way cheaper right now than $100 to press this thing. Because if it was a newer scan of this album, it would be at $256. And that's the same thing for Bitches Brew, DSD 64. So, why wouldn't I, if I wanted the MoFi experience on those, why wouldn't I just find the non-one-step versions of those and pay a lot less money for it? Or buy a newer reissue that's going to also be digitally sourced, that'll also be a lot cheaper than that. And I think that's probably what I'll do. And then Cannonball Adderley, Something Else. This is at least at $256, but there's a Tone Poets, not a Tone Poets, but a Blue Note version of this that's, what, $25, $28? Why would I pay $125 for this? I'll just go buy that. And then another thing that's kind of weird is that as they put more and more stuff on here, like some of the MoFi releases that I do have, like Weezer Pinkerton, I have this. I don't know what this means. Digital clone of original digital master. So I'm guessing that this was recorded on digital originally, but I would like some more information as to what digital clone means. But that is what it is. And then I also own the Elvis Costello records, or at least some of them. They don't have all of them listed here other than this one, which I don't actually own this one. And this one is actually, according to this, cut from the Analog Master. So apparently the Elvis Costello records are cut from the Analog Master. That makes me wonder about the Pixies records that I own. But those aren't on here. So I have no idea what those are cut from. I do know that at the time when I bought those, I bought them when they were new. So whatever that was, 10, 15 years ago. And I compared them to the recent reissues. And the MoFi sounded significantly better than the reissues. So I was happy to buy those. Here's where I think MoFi is going to run into issues, is that there seems to be if you look at this and look at everything that's coming out, you have Van Halen, you have Elvis, you have Eagles, you have Michael Jackson, which is maybe the one thing that stands out here as being the thing that's unique on this. Everything else is sort of old man music. Even Van Halen. I was born in 1975, and I remember when they had David Lee Roth. But, I mean, this wasn't my band. This was like my older brother's sort of band. So I don't really care about them. And here, more of the same, essentially. Like stuff, I call it boomer rock, right? Like it's all rock music for old people. And if you look at what Acoustic Sounds is doing, they're releasing Steely Dan, which I cannot describe in words how much I don't give a fuck about Steely Dan. This is one of the only times I've said the F word on my channel, but I really don't give a fuck about Steely Dan. But we're getting a bunch of them, so that's cool for someone, but not me. So I think what MoFi has to do is this has to be their last hurrah. If I'm running the company, this is what I'm doing. This is my last hurrah for all these one steps, because I really don't foresee them being able to sell that many one steps at this price. People just aren't willing to pay this price for what you're getting with the DSD mastering. I just can't imagine that they're going to be able to sustain that business. And are they going to be able to compete readily with the UHQRs, which are a better product? They come in a nicer package. They use a better, well, in most times it's going to be a better mix. It's going to be a more natural mix. It's, you know, all in all, for if you're going to spend $150 over $100 for a record, you're not going to pick one of these. Well, this or this or this or this or this. Maybe if you absolutely have been craving Van Halen from MoFi, then maybe you'll pick these up. The ship has sailed on MoFi doing $100 plus reissues. What I think they need to do is get back to doing the $40 reissues. You know, Chad Kasem, God love his enthusiasm, because my enthusiasm has really waned for $100 records post Mobile Fidelity's, I don't know, how would you say it? Mobile Fidelity's explosion, in the negative context, not in the exploded into an awesome thing that everyone wants. You know, now it's a not awesome thing that apparently people don't want, by and large. People are trying to divest themselves of these older records, which now is a great time to grab them. I mean, those, if they sounded good a year ago, they still sound good today. And like I said, if I can pick up, you know, the regular presses of these for a reasonable price, and I would say reasonable price is between $40 and $50, I'll pick those up, but I'm not going to spend $100 on these. Maybe these Van Halen records will sell, and maybe the Michael Jackson will sell. I don't know that. I just don't. I don't know why they're doing jazz anymore, quite frankly. If I were Mobile Fidelity, I would stay away from stuff that the Tone Poet series is doing, and I would stay away from anything that Chad Kasem could possibly want to do, and any of the other smaller labels that are doing higher quality pressings. And I would go with stuff like the Pixies, and I would go with stuff like Elvis Costello and the Run DMC record that they did. Let's see what that is. So this is DSD 256, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with a $60 record being cut from a DSD 256 file if it's a double LP on 45 RPM. I feel like that's good value. $125 for a quote-unquote one-step in a crappy box, I don't think is good value, and I think most people see it that same way. If you don't see it that way, let me know in the comments below. I think most people are on board with me. I think they need to break into a new market, and I think they need to kind of set themselves as we're not going to sell anything higher than $60. They have to go from the premier audiophile company to the budget audiophile company real quick. And they have to do stuff that other people don't want to do. You know, because Chad Kasem isn't going to do a Run DMC record. Or a Pixies record. Or a Guided by Voices record. Or a Husker Du record. Or any of the really great releases that are just sitting there being ignored by these audiophile labels that, you know, there's people that would buy this stuff. Like 5,000 copies of, you know, the Ramones records or, you know, the Misfits records. They could sell those real easy. Why don't they do that? I don't know. But they don't. They'd rather do, you know, Crosby, Stills, Nash, Eagles, Alan Parsons Project. Because we haven't been inundated with that stuff for the past 50 years. I don't know. Other than that, I can't foresee me ever giving a crap about Mobile Fidelity. I have become quite fatalistic in terms of Mobile Fidelity. I think they need to evolve or die if they're going to attempt to hang on. At this point, it's a failed business model. They're running up against people putting out a better product in terms of what Chad's doing. They're also running into, I would say, a better product and a cheaper product with the Tone Poets series. Even the Blue Note Classic series, I think, is on par with your average Mobile Fidelity record, and it's at bare minimum, you know, $20 cheaper. So, evolve or die, MoFi. But my enthusiasm is dead. My enthusiasm died a painful death, which sucks because as long as I've been collecting records, Mobile Fidelity has been a thing, and it's been held up as a pinnacle of something. And now it's become, if not a laughing stock, it's become something to avoid and to be embarrassed by. They really need to change directions. And sadly, I don't think they are going to, just based on the fact that they thought they could get away with pretending to be all analog for as many years as they have. They probably have the hubris to just continue on, pretend like nothing ever happened, and then continue to make records that people aren't going to buy. I can't wait until when it's these on sale records aren't just going to be t-shirts that are barely on sale. Who's going to wear a MoFi shirt at this point? And some SACDs that are, again, on sale. There's going to be a bunch of vinyl in here. There's going to be Michael Jackson Thriller in here, I suspect. And maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think so. All right, guys. Have a good day.